All right, folks. Mr. Hanson here. We're ready to start the last phase of this building blocks project before we, start fabricating our block designs. That's going to be to take our CAD models that we've produced so far and put them into a set of detailed drawings that can be used as blueprints. So if I were taking this design to a shop for fabrication or sending this up the chain of command to have somebody check and evaluate the designs that I've created, we're going to need to put these in blueprint form. And so I want to walk you guys through that process. It's pretty simple. Here I've got my assembly file that we created in the last video. I'm going to go up to File. Um, I'm going to Design to create a drawing. And I'm going to create a drawing from this design. I'll give that a second. For this first drawing that I'm going to make, I'm going to choose the full assembly. That'll grab everything here. I need to create a new drawing template from scratch. I'm going to change this to ASME format. And I'm going to change this to uh, uh, sh- sheet A size, which is like the standard letter size, which, if we needed to print out our designs, that would be the size that we'd want to put that on. Um, all right, click OK. And that's going to take us to the detailed drawing tool. So this is a place to create detailed drawings of our designs. And so this first view is going to be in an assembly view. And so typically for the assembly view, I like looking at the isometric view of this thing. Makes it a little more clear to see what's going on. Let me change the scale here. Let's see if 2:1's too big. That's too big. Let's see. Yeah, we'll leave that 1:1. Just gonna click to create that view. I want to leave this as a shaded view for my isometric view. That'll leave the color and shading so we can see what this 3D object looks like. Click OK, and that'll create a drawing page of that part. It'll have the title block. Should have some of this information filled in. Um, in particular, the project and the title of this uh, particular drawing. It'll keep up with the drawing sheet number automatically. You shouldn't really have to change too much here. It'll keep up with the scale automatically. You may need to go in and change the title information uh, to finish filling that out, but you can double click the title block in order to do that. All right. Typically, with an assembly view, we have a parts list, and we've gone through and labeled all our parts as we put this thing together. So it's actually pretty easy to create that parts list. Let me go up to Tables, and under the Table option, there is an option here for a parts list, and that creates a list of parts in this design based on the assembly that I've already done. All you got to do is click to place that parts. Now, one thing you'll notice, like it creates these little call outs for the different parts, makes it easy to see what those parts are. You might want to drag things around just to position stuff a little more so it's more easily readable. But it hasn't dug into the like sub assemblies. If you remember with this design, this axle block actually had its own assembly. So number 4 here, the axle block actually has two different parts. So I'm gonna see there, double click that parts list. I'm going to change a few things. I'm going to get rid of this description column since our part number or part name is essentially our description. I'll get rid of that part number, use part name instead. And where it says structure, I'm going to expand this to all levels. And what that'll do is go into the sub-assemblies and add the list of parts from the sub-assemblies as well. And there you see it's taken my axle block and broken that up into the small wheel and the actual axle block itself. I would encourage you guys, let me click close on that. I would encourage you guys to work on modifying these little call outs a little bit. It can sometimes be a little tricky to see what exactly they're pointing to. So if you move these around, it'll make that a little bit easier. This is a professional document, and we want to make sure we're keeping things professional. And that right there is the assembly view. of our Lego set. That shows you how all the pieces are laid out, shows you how the individual pieces are put together, um, which is pretty nice. But to create a complete set of blueprints, we're going to want to take this assembly view and also include the actual blueprints for each of the individual parts. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do next. Let me go ahead, Control S, and save this. I'm going to call this car set detail drawing. And that'll create a detailed drawing file in your data panel. And what we're going to want to do, we're going to want to add new sheets for each of these individual parts. So I've got, let's say, one, two, three, four parts that I need to add details for. Um, so if I were to actually like take this to the workshop and build this, by hand, I need to know not only how the parts fit together, but what the size and shape of the individual parts are. So let me switch back to my car set assembly, and I'm going to create a new drawing. So let me go down to drawing from design. And here, instead of the full assembly, I want to select a part to add a drawing for. So let me select this, 2x4 block. That's kind of the main building block of this thing here. Under drawing, I don't want to create a new drawing. I want to add this to my car set detail drawing. So I'm going to select that. I do want to create a new sheet, and that should copy the rest of the settings there. Click OK. And that should take you back to the detail drawing, but you'll notice down here we've got a new drawing sheet that's been added. So in addition to our assembly view, we now have a drawing sheet for this individual block. Um, let's see, let me change, yeah, 2 to 1 looks good. I'm gonna leave that 2 to 1. I wanna see, yeah, hidden, visible and hidden edges. Okay, now I can click to place my base view. I'm going to click OK on the drawing view, and you'll see that turns that drawing of that part into the actual detailed drawing, where we can see the solid object lines and the dashed hidden lines, and all the details that are part of this design. Let me add a few more views to this. I'm going to grab my projected view here, and what this does, it lets us click a drawing, go over to the side, and I can too many. Uh, Create an extra one there. Create a view of this block from a different side. Let me add 2 more. I'm going to add a top view, and I'm going to go below it to add a bottom view. And that right there gives me the complete, multi-view drawing of this design. A lot easier than drawing it by hand. There are a few things that we would want to add to this to make it look nice, neat, and professional. That, of course, is going to start with dimensions. And so the dimension tool will just grab measurements from our drawing file. And so I'm going to go ahead and put some key dimensions here. It's a good idea to include the dimensions of pretty much everything you would need in order to build your design. Let's see, add a few more. And this tool's pretty good about laying out the dimensions. And of course, our title block should be mostly filled in. We will probably have to make a few edits to the title block because this is no longer my car set assembly. Um, Let me go ahead and change this to reflect the actual part that I'm modeling here. So this is my 2x4 block. It will keep the scale and size and the sheet number accounts up to date, but you want to change that title. I said change that title. There we go. All right, so now I've got a drawing sheet with my assembly view, the isometric view with all the parts labeled and a parts list, and I got a new sheet for that first part. We need to go through and repeat that process to create a detailed drawing for each of our parts. So I would, in practice, go through and create the detailed drawing for each of my other parts. But for right now, I'm gonna let you guys continue working on this. That's the basic process for producing those nice, neat, professional looking blueprints. So give that a shot. And if you need help creating your set of blueprints, shoot me an email or I can help you when I get back.